New Muslims from America and other lands by Imtiaz Ahmad Madni, Chapter 1.6 Abdullah, an American army soldier embraces Islam. Abdullah was a young man with basic high school education. He was on active duty in US Army for a few years, where he learned some technical skills. At present, he earns his living by repairing photocopy and fax machines. How he accepted Islam is interesting, yet it is more fascinating to know how he went through the Islamization process. During the Gulf War between the United Forces and Iraq, he was posted in Saudi Arabia. Abdullah was shopping in a Saudi market. He picked up an item from a shop and agreed to pay its price to the shopkeeper. However, when he was about to pay for the article, the call for azan was heard from the nearby masjid. The shopkeeper said, "That's it," and refused to do any business until after the prayer was over. He then closed his shop and hurriedly went to the masjid. Abdullah was stunned and wondered about this incident. Why did this man not take the money when there was a mutual agreement on the price? Abdullah did not come across anyone in his life who refused to take money. Usually, in business, everybody runs after money one way or other. What kind of person was this shopkeeper? What kind of religion was it that had so much priority in the eyes of the shopkeeper? Abdullah was very inquisitive and wanted to know more about this religion. He read more and more about it and finally decided to embrace Islam after his return to America. In New York, he had some good teachers who gave him basic Islamic education and taught him how to read Quran with correct pronunciation. Abdullah became a very strict practicing Muslim, Alhamdulillah. I came to know Abdullah only when he moved to Detroit. He decided to reside near Tawheed Center of Detroit and offered most of his prayers in this masjid. I happened to be voluntary imam running the affairs of the masjid. Since Brother Abdullah was very regular in all the prayers, I wished to have his participation in some activities of the masjid. One day I asked him to call the azan. He said he would do it outside the masjid on the main road. I informed him that we were presently going through the licensing process of the building with the local department and city of Detroit. The city of Detroit was holding a public hearing about it. I told him firmly that I have to face the public, the attorney, the zoning commission, and city planning department. You guys come pray and leave the masjid. You do not have any idea of the difficulties faced by us at City Hall. Some wisdom and caution should be observed in our Islamic practice. Why should we annoy and excite our non Muslim neighbors? Furthermore, we should rather concentrate on reviving faith in Muslims rather than creating problems with our non Muslim neighbors. My words did not budge him at all. He refused to make the azan in the masjid. I, Allah forgive me, had to ask someone else to make the azan. Incidentally, I know only one masjid in North America which has the permission to place its speakers outside the masjid. This is due to the court ruling in favor of the Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan, because of the mostly Muslim neighborhood. Brother Abdullah asked me for a key to the masjid. I told him that the masjid is open for prayers and we are limiting access to the keys for insurance purposes. After a few weeks, Brother Abdullah asked my permission to let his guests sleep in the masjid at night. I refused. I asked him, why didn't you why don't you take it to your home? He said, because I has a wife. Brother Abdullah walked away angrily with me. He wanted to do it only in his own way. He complained to many Muslims about me. In spite of these hard feelings, he was committed to attending the congregational prayers in the masjid. Brother Abdullah had memorized a considerable part of Quran. His recitation was very charming and effective. I asked him to lead the Isha prayer daily. He was memorizing more and more Quran every day. He loved every new surah or chapter he memorized and preferred to recite it whilst leading the prayer. There were always some mistakes in his newly learnt surahs. This made many Muslims uneasy. I talked to Abdullah about it. I suggested to him that he should recite only those surahs which he had mastered and that he should recite them in front of me a few times one day in advance. He liked my suggestion. Thus, he improved and understood my point of view. The mistakes in the recitation totally disappeared, and our teamwork and cooperative attitude helped us to reconcile. We faced another problem with Brother Abdullah. He used to recite a long surah followed by Surah Ikhlas in each rakat. Thus, prayers took a long time. Sometimes the night prayer took 20 minutes. People did not have this kind of commitment and patience. I communicated these feelings of the people to Brother Abdullah. He said he liked to recite the way one companion of the Holy Prophet ﷺ did. He recited Surah Ikhlas in all his offerings of the surah after reciting the another surah. Hence, nobody could stop Brother Abdullah reciting a long surah followed by a Surah Ikhlas. One day, I saw him lying on a floor of the masjid on his right side with his arm under his head, waiting for the Iqamah for the Fajr prayer. I got worried and approached him and asked him if there was something wrong with him. He said he was fine and that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to take brief rest like this as he was doing. Abdullah would try to practice everything he read from the Quran and Hadith without being shy about it. His family life was remarkable. His wife and his sister-in-law accepted Islam through his efforts. His in-laws also accepted Islam. He had many children. His oldest son was about 7 years old and had memorized a considerable part of Quran under the father's supervision. His son regularly came to masjid to offer prayer with the congregation, even in Fajr prayer. I do not know anybody who would bring his 7 years old son regularly to Fajr prayer even during severe cold, snow, or storm. Brother Abdullah used to teach his son Quran after Fajr prayers in the masjid. His son's Islamic knowledge, practice, and behavior was superb. His recitation of Quran was excellent like his father. He behaved like a 35-year-old mature person. He would be a good Imam of Masjid, inshallah. Later, Brother Abdullah not only had the key to the masjid, but he was also made responsible for conducting the prayers in the masjid. I thought Abdullah was also ready to deliver the Jummah khutbah, a Friday sermon. He reluctantly accepted one. He did extremely well. He was therefore assigned one Jummah khutbah at Tawheed Masjid of Detroit and one khutbah a month at Tawheed Masjid of Farmington Hills, Michigan, each month. He was voluntarily carrying out his assignment extremely well. Without exaggeration, many people came to me from both the masajid requesting that he should be assigned as a permanent khatib. They love to hear his recitation of Quran as well. Truly speaking, we collected more donations for each masjid whenever Brother Abdullah delivered the Friday sermon or in Salatul Jummah. One day, Brother Abdullah came to Tawheed Masjid of Detroit with another local Muslim brother. Fajr prayer was over and everyone had left the masjid. I was reciting the Quran when both these brothers entered the masjid. They offered their prayers. I welcomed both of them since they had just returned from Hajj. I insisted on taking them to my house for breakfast. Brother Abdullah declined, telling me he had not yet gone to his home. He was coming directly to the masjid from Hajj. He told me that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to go to masjid upon his return from a journey before going home and meeting with his family. I wondered how many born Muslims follow this practice. Brother Abdullah now laughs at his past rigid behavior. He now accepts variation in Islamic practice. He even started calling the azan inside the masjid. After his first Jummah khutbah, I introduced him to the audience. While introducing him, I mentioned how he accepted Islam and how his son is proud to be in Fajr prayer daily. He was anxious to know how his khutbah was. I told him that it was excellent, so much so that he finished on time, which happened to be the problem with other khatibs. He left quietly. After the Isha prayer, Brother Hani wanted to talk to me. He said, Brother Abdullah is upset. He feels that by praising him in his presence, it was like cutting his neck, as mentioned in the hadith. I told him that you should see another hadith also, which instructs us to give due respect and credit to whosoever deserves it. Prophet Shuaib Islam also said to his people that do not belittle the credit of other persons. La tabkhasun nasa ashiyahum. Some people focus only on one hadith or one ayah and draw their own conclusions. Thanks God, I did not exaggerate anything in the introduction. Furthermore, people should know all about the new khatib. I expressed my opinion to Brother Abdullah the next day. He was satisfied with my explanation. Brother Abdullah attended some Arabic classes in the local community college offered by Sheikh Ali Suleiman. Now he speaks Arabic, understands some grammar, and recites and memorizes surah of Quran, new surahs of Quran. He also learns new hadiths, delivers the Friday sermons, and guides many disbelievers to the light of Islam. A high school graduate, think about it, a high school graduate with sincerity and commitment can do all these wonderful things and introduce and propagate Islam amongst people of the other faiths. Brother Abdullah is the byproduct of Gulf War. Many other soldiers accepted Islam by visiting Saudi Arabia like this. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم.